on behalf of the people, you a sheriff's deputy, so you're law enforcement. When it comes to y'all, it's like, what the fuck do y'all be on, dog? Just for the people. What do y'all be on? Jumping off from there, man. What's going on?
And I'm going to say this. I don't represent anybody. This is my opinion of what's going on. Like it or not, I truly don't believe I work with people and we wake up in the morning to say, today I'm going to go violate someone's civil rights. I'm going to go up and I'm going to kill somebody. That's not the idea of the department. That's not my idea of the department. That's not how we get up. You don't get in this line of work to go beat. That's not what you do. You know, when you're 12 years old, you want to do the job. The reason why you want to do the job is because you want the cop car, you want to run lights, and that's what you want to do the job for. You genuinely have to want to help and be a part of the community and go from there. So that's how I look at it. That's how I feel the guys I work with feel and have the same sentiment that I have when it comes to the department. Now, do things happen? Yes. But that comes with the job, and I know I don't want to go into crazy stuff, but you don't wake up ready to beat someone up and kill somebody. That's not what we represent as a department.
And so even as a cop, though, we talked yesterday, and you said, man, you was up till 3 a.m. You watched the video, you seen what all happened. What was your first thoughts when you saw the video, being a cop yourself?
I typically do not watch police videos. You know, I don't. I won't ever watch.
In general, don't.
I don't generally do not watch police videos, but it was so crazy. Like people were Facebook, Instagram. You know, my buddies would text me, tell me what's going on. So I was like, all right, so let me check out the video. So I watched the video in full. Yeah, I think that what's crazy is, before I get into detail about it, like this video that hundreds, thousands, and millions of people have seen of watching a man die, and it was being recorded. Like, so I think we need to grasp that we watched a man die. You watched a man die publicly. So publicly, as a black man, you start like, man, did this really just happen again? Aside from being a police officer, did this really just happen again? And the way in which it happened. So then you get mad, you get angry, you start thinking, well, okay, slavery, you had people in circles watching the hanging of black men, black families. You cut off testicles, you did whatever you did publicly. So that's what I started thinking about. It happened. It's a sad day. And it's hurtful from my point of view as a black man. It is a very hurtful situation. It's a hurtful situation of how he died and in the way of which he died by someone who was supposed to protect him. So yeah, it's a painful situation.
So this happened a couple of days ago. You've been working since then. What has that been like going up in the police station? Because, you know, like you told me, one of three black officers or four in the whole county?
Yeah.
In the whole county?
In the whole county.
And you in Vermilion County, for the people that don't know, that's the Champaign area. He said, I don't want to deal with the P. I'm going to go to Champaign. I can't pull up in the P. I'm going to be in Champaign. But has it been weird? Because, like, I know, like, I did a couple years in a private school. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to black issues, a whole classroom, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you being that you are the black cop, one of four in the whole county of hundreds of whites, what was it like? What has it been like these past couple of days when you go into work and this just happened? I know it's still the talk of your locker room.
It's been addressed. You know, it's been addressed from everybody I've talked to. They know this. It's not good. It's not good.
But what are the conversations like? Let the people know, because we talked off air and like people kind of addressed you. You kind of got offended from people like, bruh.
I had a conversation with somebody, and at first, like I said, I got a buddy that's super militant about this. You know, like, man, you need to do this, you need to do that. The conversation I had that kind of really struck a chord with me, and it's not, you can have the conversation. Everybody needs to, don't offend somebody on this conversation. I can't say, well, you white people. because then that white person is immediately not going to want to hear anything else I have to say. So we sat there and we talked about it, and the conversation came up of thugs. All right, so he goes, well, thugs. I said, well, he goes, you know how thugs dress. I was like, well, how does a thug dress? He goes, baggy jeans, bigger shirt. They got this. I was like, well, wait a minute. You're describing me in high school. Bro, right now I can go pull out a shirt that's a 3X. I wear a medium. Right. Okay? I wear a medium. And then I was like, well, he goes, well, you know how they dress now. I was like, well, if you want to go off a definition of thug, or what I feel you're quoting a thug to be or stating a thug to be, they wear skinny jeans, form-fitting, Jordans, Nikes. So that means you just described me again. So what is the difference? He goes, but you're not a thug. Well, I understand that. That's because you know me. He goes, well, it's how you carry yourself. That's fine because that's how you know me. You know me. But if you didn't know me, you just described the way I dress. So am I a thug? Again.
And it's almost like, because I've been in that situation too, where you with a bunch of white folks. You know what I mean? And we all know it goes without saying, not every white person racist, not every white person we already know that. So anyway, so now that we got that out of the way, it's different because you're in a room full of folks. They're like, well, I mean, you cool though. You know what I'm saying? Like you straight though. Like I'm talking about them. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about them. Right. How do you be taking that?
Again, I think I'm very lucky in the department that I work with. Now, what I learned when I first came in this county, there's always been racist cops. There's always going to be racist cops. It's not going to change. Right? You're never going to change that. Now, has media, phones, and all that brought that more to light? Yes. So it's not like it's been this unwritten rule. No, it's out there. Sometimes it's blatant. It's very blatant. And that's the issue as a black man. Like, you could have a situation. I've been in a situation where you might get into it with somebody and you might hear a racial slur, and then you kind of look at this person like, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? You're like, well, wait. So you have to, but it's the culture of policing itself is so crazy, and I don't even know if I have enough time to get into it. It's back the blue. It's your brothers and sisters. It's us versus you guys. You can't tell me how to be a police officer because you don't understand. You don't get on at 7:00 in the morning and immediately have to forget whatever issues you have going on, and I have to go deal with your crap. So, and it is, but and it's a constant. It's a battle. All right.
You mentioned that yesterday when we was talking. You said like racism is indoctrinated and it's already considered in for the training that y'all go through. Like, the training for a cop is racist.
I think you have laws. Think about it. We went to Southern Illinois, go Dogs. Think about sundown towns. You have so many states in Southern Illinois that still have on law books that if you're a black person, you can't be walking around town when the sun goes down. Right? That aren't going to be getting taken off the books. I say don't take them off the books, because then if you take them off the books, you get a position where people want to forget. Don't forget that. I don't want you to forget that it was a law, and I don't want to forget that it was a law. All right. Your training when you go to PTI. I think we maybe had 5 or 6 black guys. That you have people from across the state, and I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying it's different. So you might have people. White, black, green, or brown that have dealt with urban culture. You also have a group of people that your only information or only idea of a black person is what you saw on BET, what you saw on TV, or what you assumed in the media. So having this conversation with other black officers that were there, it's like, man, you kind of have to, as a black person, you're telling them like, look, I don't want you to think I'm not going to back you up. I don't want you to think that I'm a thug on the street, but I still need to be me.
What racism would you point out, if you could, where you identify like, was it a point in training, in police training, where you learning how to be a cop, learning how to navigate the streets, where they gave you some directives and you be like, bro, this low key slight. Like
you could be on the you could be on the shooting range.
Up from that?
Shooting range. I would say perfect example. The shooting range, and it's not. and I don't know if this is necessarily a racing thing, but it's just your train alone. You know, when you're on the shooting range, it ain't fire. It's shoot, kill. You know, that's just how it is. But they're programming you to, hey, it's no different in the military. I'm not shooting to injure you. I'm shooting you to go home. Like, I'm gonna go home, and that's not. There's nothing wrong with that ideology if you are in that situation where it's your life. Okay, I don't knock that at all. If I need to go home, I'm going to do what I need to do to go home.
What do you think? What do you think it is about white cops, or just cops in general? Because we've seen black cops act up in Baltimore as well too.
Exactly.
What do you think it is about cops where they feel like they got to shoot to go home when we look on video and they be like, bruh, you could have still went home? Like, what is in that training that's like, boom,
I think,
we
and this again, I'm speaking for me. I think when you have officers that that are shooting, when you see the videos that you're like, well, I want to shot that person, I want to acted that way, and it's hard to judge videos because, again, unlike the incident that just took place a couple of days ago, it's rare if you get it from the start to finish. You know, it's never the beginning. It's never, you always, it somehow comes in the middle. But you can't have officers that are not from the community, policing the community. You can't have officers that are afraid of people or afraid of the community that you're supposed to be involved with. And again, I'm not naturally afraid of people. And that could come down to my detriment one day. I'm not afraid of a black person. So when I approach people, black people, white people, I'm not afraid of you.
So do you think that cops are legit scared of black dudes?
I think you're afraid of, and you've already put in your mind of what you think just off of a preconceived notion of how they dress, how they come to you, and you're like, well, wait a minute, like, you know, you just get scared. Like the guy that in the video, don't quote me, the one that he told him to reach for his ID in the car, end up shooting him. Like, why were you that afraid of this gentleman that your first idea was like, man, I just told him to go for his wallet, and now I'm going to shoot him? You can't be afraid of people. And again, might come down to my detriment that I'm not naturally afraid of people. If you're not from the community, you didn't grow up in this community. If you grew up in a rural area and you didn't really have dealings with an urban society or urban culture of black people, and you've grown up hearing this, oh man, you know, black folks do this, black folks do that. You know, they'll kill you, they rob for you, they'll take your purse in the elevator. And you've been programmed and taught that your entire life. So again, and now you have the power to literally take someone's rights away from them. You shouldn't have the job. If you're afraid of people and you're afraid to interact with people, you shouldn't be a police officer.
Now, real quick, we about to get to some listener questions as well too. Throw y'all questions in the comments. I already got some that I got to address. What up, Gills? I see you fall through. Drew, I see you fall through. Man, so yesterday we was talking, and you said that it was actually a situation where you had to think twice about your life as a cop because you got pulled over by some cops. Walk us through that.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I got pulled over by the police department. Just got my windows tinted. You know, I'm riding. So, and I was speeding. It is what it is. I was speeding. So
you can do that.
Yeah, I can't do that. No, we ain't gonna say that. I can't do that. So I'm thinking, I'm like, man, okay, it's broad daylight. What am I going to do? But I can't roll down my window. So now I'm thinking like, okay, I got to think like a cop right now. But I'm also, Zach, you're not a cop right now because you're not on duty. You're a black man. All right. So I kind of kicked my door open a little bit and immediately threw my hands out. And I'm just yelling like, man, Pat, it's me. I'm screaming his name like, hey. And I'm not saying he's a bad officer. I'm just doing it so I know he's comfortable that I can't do anything. But I can't roll down my windows. When he comes to the window, he's knocking on my window. I don't roll down my window and I kick open the door. You're going to have a certain reaction, which you should. Kick the door back, close, whatever it is. And I get that. So I'm trying to make him comfortable at that point, just as much as like, I don't want this to get worse.
So as a black dude in general, because you got the tinted windows, you can't roll them down. You
Right.
probably got pulled over for either the tint or the speeding. But
No, I was speeding.
Okay. But in general, when you got pulled over because of these tints, you was legit thinking for a split second, these muskers legit get scared, not know it's me, and possibly this could turn out bad.
Yeah, it could 100%. That's what I thought about. 100% thought about. Like, and that's just from a different experience in Southern Illinois. I tell this story all the time. I got pulled over going to SIU. I was coming from Peoria. I was driving back to go to school. I got pulled over. I'm windows tinted. I rolled down all my windows. Literally tell this officer like, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" He walked past in front of me, spit on my car, came back, and pretty much said, "What the F are you doing here?"
Spit on you?
Spit on my.
How I know about this?
In the maroon Ford Taurus.
I remember.
Yeah.
Spit on your car.
Yeah, spit on, and then said, "What the F are you doing here?" I'm not gonna mention out the city, but I'll never forget it. So that was just my experience. I'm like, man, you ain't gotta be, that you gonna be that way, but that's a true story. That's a true story. So that's just my experience. So that's when you get pulled over. Granted, I understand when I'm in this county, I do feel a bit more comfortable. I understand because I know the guys when they see my face. Okay, it's Zach. Just you're at ease. But if I'm at another county that they don't know me, you have to think about that. Like, man, they don't know who I am. Like that, and that's a true word. And people, police officers, you talk to them, and just having a conversation. It's like I have to think as a black person. I have to make you comfortable.
Is it times where you'll be out because obviously spitting on your car was unnecessary and coming at you with that type of language is inflammatory, just point blank period. Right. Is it times where you'll be out with some people or you've heard stories, you know what I mean, and you see even people like that you may work with or may not work with? I know you county and you got the city where you just hear about a situation where you be like, bro, that wasn't necessary. Do you think cops are unnecessarily inflammatory?
I think all cops have egos. Okay.
So all cops, officially, if you're a cop, you got an ego.
If you're a cop, you have an ego. You gotta understand. And I was just telling my mom and dad this. The moment you put on this uniform, I wake up. This is my routine. I wake up with a smile on my face. I go to work, try to enjoy my job every single day. You understand when I put on my uniform, and I get in the squad car, I literally have a power that the average person does not understand. I can pull you over for going 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles over the speed limit. I could hold up your day if I want to. Like, hey, I got someplace to be. Okay, hold that thought. So let me slowly type this ticket real quick because you got someplace to go and I'm gonna hold you up. So you have a power that again you just can't imagine. So all cops have egos, and that's I think is what the issue happened with a couple days ago. If who has ever watched the video, think about this. You had multiple people telling this cop who has an ego what to do. Get off of him, get off of him. He can't breathe, get off of him. Well, okay, I understand that, but I'm going to get off of him when I want to get off of him. And right now, I'm not done laying on him.
Even you could almost argue that the people saying get off of him is half the reason why you stay there.
You can say that.
Because like you can't tell me as a cop if I got a God complex and you say get off of him. Well, if I get off of him, you just hold me essentially.
You told me what to do.
You told me what to do, and I can't let that happen.
You can't tell me what to do.
Right, because I'm a cop and you're not.
Because it is, it is what it is. And that's his buddy's fault for not checking him. Have I taken stuff too far? Have I been checked by other officers? Yes. Have I checked other guys? Yes. But that's what you're supposed to do that.
So is that the responsibility? We talk about the other guy who was the Asian cop that was sitting right there trying to get everybody to calm down. Is it his responsibility? Was it dereliction of duty on his behalf to not tell dude get up?
The way from the video, again, I'm only speaking off the video.
That's all we all got.
Right, okay. There's what, 3 people on him. You got the guy that was on his neck, the officer that was on his neck, and you got the 2 that were holding him down as well. You mean to tell me the 2 that weren't holding him down, you ain't like, hey, all right, all right, man, get him up. Like, at some point in time, you're handcuffed, the threat is done, like, get him up. And at some, like, man, get up. Like, me, personally, why are we still sitting here? Why are we still here? Put him in the car. You got people screaming at you. Get out of this. Let's go.
So, but at the end of the day, do you feel like you have a responsibility to make sure that another officer don't take something too far? Do you feel like Absolutely. That's your responsibility?
As a co-worker, as a police officer, absolutely. And that officer shouldn't get mad at me, and I won't get mad at that officer. Now, are we going to talk about it privately? Yeah, we'll talk about it like, hey, man, I was just looking out. But I've had those conversations.
do is it a point where as a cop you could be in the heat of the moment and like even the dude that was on his neck, obviously he was sitting there, it was intentional, but would you say it's safe to say that occasionally as a cop you can legit black out, like you just like lose consciousness of thought and you just in it, you feel what I'm saying?
Uh, I think so. I think so, but I take it when you kind of you don't black out, but say someone's breaking in someone's house. We are running in this situation, not knowing what's going on. I'm not thinking about anything else other than finding out who's in his house. If he's beating up somebody, that's all we're thinking about. So if that's a blackout situation, like what? How many people are just going to run into a house, not know what's going on? I think that's my blackout situation.
Is
Because
it hard to de-escalate yourself though? Like you pumped up because remember, old girl, I forget her name, and this happened so many times. But I think it was a month ago. What was she? An EMT worker. It was a raid. Busted in the crib, shot her up. Just boom, shot her up. Is that a point where it's like it's hard to pump the brakes, and once you're gone, you're gone? Does that need to be reevaluated with training or what?
but that's what training is for. You try to train just like you play basketball. You practice how you play. So you want to train in these high intense situations. So you can practice like, hey, slowing down, not going through all this. You that's how you train. Unfortunately, guys don't get to train all the time. Life goes on. People go to work. You want to go hang out with your kids. So it is what it is. But what job do you know that you can train these live shootouts or school shootings? You know how hard that is to replicate that. Because no matter how much you train, how can you duplicate? If I'm shooting, it's hard to go to a training method where you have the fake guns or you guys are using the little rubber bullets, whatever it is. Well, it's different when it's live because I get to walk out the situation. It's not Call of Duty. And I get to hit square and I get to restart. It's not. I get hit with something, I'm down.
So you brought up a good point, and I swear we finna get to the question. Graves, I see you. I see my guy Sean Vince had a question. We're gonna get to that too. But real quick, you talk about running into a shooting, and I know you're not that cop, and everybody's different. You got different cops, you got different departments, you got different states, different cities. How is it though that you get an example like Dylan Roof that shot up 9 people, cops rush in there and are able to bring him out calmly because they're not charged up. But if you hear about a black dude selling Lucy's on the corner, you still charged up enough to do violence. Like from a police perspective, how could you make that make sense if somebody white shot up a spot, you officers ain't rushing in high strung, but a situation like the other day, or the Lucy cigarette, or you know what I'm saying, sitting in the car. Well, I can see sitting in the car, you might have a gun, but like it seems like officers aren't high strung in those moments. But mass shootings, mugs just chill.
It's a good question. That's a good question. Again, I can only speak for me. Uh, Again, and that's a buddy check. That's a buddy check. Um, the whole situation of the Lucy's selling Lucy's. You wrap this kid up publicly. You choke him out. At some point in time, if I'm in that situation, or you call what we call the dog pile, I look at that video. I hate quarterbacking cops in that situation too. But at some point, if I'm got someone under control and he's under me, like why, usually typically you got other officers grabbing arms, trying to handcuff, like that's what it is. But that situation, it didn't happen. That situation didn't happen. The Dylan Roof situation and why officers didn't react a certain way. I've never been in that situation.
Because I can't see how you can go into the Dylan Roof situation not shooting. If I'm a cop and you tell me he didn't clap 9 cats in the basement of a church, he's still armed and dangerous. That's why I don't have any business being a cop, because I think I might go in shooting. Because like you said, I got to go home. If you selling Lucy's,
okay,
I'm not worried about going home.
Right, and think about this. Again, I'm going to take it to training. When you have training, that you go through the legal aspect, which is sometimes the downfall. But they talk about, well, hey, if you do this, you're going to expect a lawsuit. You're going to expect to be sued. You're going to expect to go through this whole situation. So officers are going to hesitate to act and knock this person down, shoot this person, whatever, and end this person's life just from the backlash. Think about the backlash that certain officers have when it was a justified shooting. It's a lose-lose. Mentally, again, average officers, you just took someone's life. The average person is not okay with taking somebody's life. You know what I mean? Like that, you don't want to do it, and then you have the backlash from it, which is why you have, you get involved in that incident. They wait, what is this, 3 days before they can talk to you. You go through all these counselors, all these sessions just to make sure you can come back. That's a high stressful moment. Again, you have to understand that point too. So yeah, you might have guys like you probably could have justifiably shot this person, but in your mind, like, man, I might get sued. So let me pull back.
Or clap.
That's another issue. I can't speak for the Dylan Roof situation. I wasn't in that. I can't. Again, that's me quarterbacking the cop, which I don't like doing. Because every situation is so different, and when it comes into law enforcement and dealing with situations, not every domestic situation is the same. You get into this lackadaisical, just careless. Oh, it's another domestic that happened in Indianapolis with the young black lady. She steps out of the car, gets shot. Like we don't expect to. I don't wake up expecting like, oh, this is my last day. She did exactly what she was. She went to the situation and it's just like this is what's going on, and she gets killed.
And a cop or a pedestrian?
Cop? Yeah, a cop. She got killed. It was a black cop. So it happens. I can't speak for that Dylan Roof situation because I wasn't in that situation. Now, you go into active shooter school situations, I know what I'm going to do. I'm running the school. I don't, there's no doubt in my mind I'm running that school. So again, every situation is different. And that's what's problem with the conversation, like I said, or with people. You're not in that situation. In every situation daily there's so many variables. There's so much that changes, human nature that changes in these situations. So no, you can't just pinpoint, oh, well, you guys didn't do that. You guys didn't shoot that person, but you shot that person.
Let me get to some questions real quick, man, because they starting to pour in, man. Hey, shout out Stephen Graves, man. He said, what impact do you feel like you are making to change the narrative of police relations?
I mean, you know how I am. And anytime there's an event in Peoria, I'm like, if I can make it, I'm gonna make it. And I'm not here to kiss butt or anything like that. I've always had the opportunity. My bosses always let me have the opportunity to go to Peoria. And you see me. I'm showing up in the squad car 2 hours away to support whatever you guys got going on. So I always am down for trying to change the narrative and get more black people. You gotta think, I'm rare. I don't see a lot of people with me in a uniform. It just doesn't happen. I would love to see more black kids do this job. It's a proud job. It's a rewarding job. It's fun. You go pull up in the playground or you talking to kids. You get to drive around literally and go talk to people. If that's what you like to do, you can do that. But again, we do have to. I applaud Danville for theirs. They have a group, the task force, that's going into the community a little bit more and trying to, develop and get that relationship with the community. But it's hard because it's already broken. Now, it didn't just become broken; it's been broken for centuries. You know what I mean? Like, it's been broken for the jump. So it'll take time.
It started broken for sure.
It started broken, So. But again, it's something we need to work on. I think you need to have people have the conversation, and not be offended when I can't be offended because you don't agree with what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like that's what I think is another issue. People are afraid. White people are afraid to have the conversation because look, our history with policing, the black community, the white and black community is not necessarily a good one. It started off bad. It's gotten much better, but it's still bad.
Shout out to Sean. Sean said, does your blackness inform the way you police? And if so, how?
Absolutely. You got to think, like I said on my Facebook post, I match the description, I wear the badge. So sometimes you can go out and deal with people that look like me, look like you, and it's me like, man, F the police. You're like, well, wait a minute. I'm just trying to come at you like I would come at you at the barbershop. Like I don't want to come at you bogus. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Uh, but again, you're in the neighborhoods that we grew up playing basketball in, and they hate you. You know what I mean? The hate is real, and I'm gonna be frank now. I'm not
The
trying to change
police hate towards blacks is real.
the hate of towards black officers.
You saying the hate from black people towards
Towards
black
black
officers is
officers
real?
is real.
Why you think that is?
Well, it because you have the history. It's like you're a sellout. You like, how are you going to go join the team and they're the ones that are oppressing us?
Enjoying the oppressor. I mean, what would be your answer as somebody that had a cop spit on his whip and say, "What the F are you doing on this side of town or in this area?" And then you go be a cop. What would be your explanation for that?
Because I want to be the cool guy. You know what I mean? I want to be the, like, people call you all the time. I want to be, you can change it. You can change it. Like, I don't need to be that cop. Like, regardless, yeah, I'm Deputy Davis, but you already know it's me. I'm still always going to be real. I'm still always going to have that. I will never sacrifice my morals for this job. And
Have you been
it's
asked to do
definitely
that?
hard, and it's crazy sometimes 'cause you get hate, and again, I'm out in the county, so I can go to literally in the same amount of day, I can go to a white person's house who is calling me a nigger, then I can go handle a situation in the urban community. It's like, oh man, we ain't talking to you. It's sometimes a lose-lose situation. It is sometimes a true a lose-lose situation, which is that is your battle with being a black officer. Because I'm not here, I'm just here to help. That's all. Everybody loves a firefighter. Everybody hates the police. That's how it works.
Facts. I mean, firefighters don't harass us
They
though.
don't,
You
and it's
did.
true. And it's the laws allow us to do certain things. So, and we're gonna use the law.
Do you think y'all got too much rope? Like you said,
Mm,
the law allows y'all to do certain things, and there's certain things that y'all can get away with just because you are in that space. Do you think when you look at stuff like this and you look at the ability of a cop to be antagonistic towards you and to like get you out the car, be aggressive towards you, and you just kind of halfway get up, now you resist an arrest, now you getting arrested. Like, do you think y'all got too much rope? Be real, dog. Y'all got too much rope?
well, no, because again, the law is this way. The law is not black and white. All right, it's gray. That you get to float within the gray. Um, if you write the law to say you need to do A, B, and C for this to happen. Well, what if you have all these? What if someone goes to D, E, and F? All right. So say you go to a situation where you're trespassing. I'm gonna make up a scenario. Say someone's trespassing. Well, hey, you need to stop, and that person pulls a gun on you. What do I do? If I
If
ask you,
somebody pull a gun on
yeah,
you,
what do I do?
I mean, that's just, I mean,
You don't know what to do, right?
do
You
you?
think
No,
about
I
it,
know what to do. You gonna do
and
the
think
same
about it,
thing I'm
that's
gonna
just a
do?
random scenario. You had no
Yeah,
clue.
yeah.
You had no clue. So think about what I got to start thinking about, and I'm the one that's got the gun on me.
Yeah.
Think about that. So I don't think you can. It's hard when you have people breaking all these laws, and there's so many. Like again, you can't write laws for human nature. Everything changes.
Do you think the aggression and the intimidation and like the inflammatory movements by cops to blacks, do you think it's a racist issue or more of a God complex issue?
I think again, it's a culture issue.
Well, when you
All
say
right,
culture, is it the
it's
culture of the department to have a God complex, or
it's
is
a
it the culture of the department to look at blacks as less than people?
You're asking again, Marcus. I love you, but you ask those questions because me, I'm not. I don't have that. Um, I guess I don't have that fear.
No, no, I know you ain't
You know
got
what I'm
it, but I'm
saying?
saying from what you know about police departments and from what you understand about police officers, not necessarily about your department, not necessarily in the state of Illinois, but from what you understand about the entity of law enforcement,
right?
Which one is it? Is it more of a cultural thing, like blacks we can be like this, or is it more of a I'm a cop, so whether if I'm a white cop, I don't care if you white, I don't care if you black, I don't care if you Indian, I don't care if you Mexican, I'm a cop and I can do what I want to? Or is it more so like I'm white and I'm gonna make sure we good, cops good, but if you black, you know what I'm saying, that's where my impression is going.
Speaking for the people I deal with, I seriously doubt majority of the police officers I work with have that mentality. Okay, of a white black mentality. Okay, I can't say that because these white cops allow me into their house. I've hung out with them. I've met their family, so I can't say that. I
Well,
think
that's
it's
because
a,
you cool. Going back
but
to what we said before, you know what I mean?
I've
It's like
seen
you
I've
cool.
met they hang around people that look black people too. So I can't necessarily say that. And again, I think it's a systemic thing. You know what I mean? So what police department never had power? So you have older guys. You got older guys that were taught to do it a certain way, who then in turn you train the younger guy to do it a certain way, who then in turn it's just it's a constant thing. You talk to older guys, man. Back in the day, that was a different breed. We got to do this, we got to do that. We were cracking heads with this night. I mean, that's just what it was. It was a different world. Was it wrong? Yes, but that was their world, and that was the mentality that they grew up in. You got to think. You imagine being a cop and during the civil rights, the power and the freedom that you had. Like, think about that. I literally, as an officer, had the right to take your life, and wasn't anybody gonna question it. You think Bull Connor cared if a black man died in the street?
And people move with that thought, like police move with that thought, knowing like out here in the streets, like I could high key kill a nigga and I would low key might even turn out straight.
And that's the thing is the guys I work with, I cannot
people.
speak.
And I'm saying the culture. You said there's a problem with the culture though. Culture allow
it
people
is,
to
but
think
it is.
that way.
It's a us versus you culture. But I think that's so wrong to literally group this officer, the one guy with Floyd that took this too far, and say, man, all white officers think like that.
Facts, but at the same time, the good cop and the bad cop are coming out of the same culture.
Yeah,
but they just true. Like you. I'm not finna sacrifice my morals for this job. You said it yourself.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna sacrifice who I am for this
exactly.
job. But you still, even though you are that way, you come from that same culture because you had to get raised up in that same academy as the good cop and the bad cop. So what is in the culture that is causing or allowing people to come out with this God complex with the us versus them mentality and be more of a policing as opposed to the protect and serve that we understand protect and serve is supposed to mean?
And I think that's when you get into the backlash of media, social media and this news. You have this hate. What's going on, man? We hate police. We hate that. So you in turn have this resentment towards people. The way the community resents us,
it's starting to be reciprocated.
It's starting to be reciprocated. But that's you. How do you fight that?
But I mean, you know where it comes from. But I can dig what you're saying, low key.
It's like a resentment.
So you saying like people? But I mean, this is how it started, though. I'll tell you what came first between the chicken and the egg, and it was cops acted a way towards blacks. Blacks in turn responded a certain way towards cops. And now, since y'all feeling that heat coming back from blacks, now cops, in a sense, as a whole, not as a whole, but as a whole, feels that same resentment back to the people that there was oppression in the first place. But now they starting to feel the heat, so they even more mad. That's what it sounds like, fam.
It's true.
What happened was cops were oppressive. We can go to LA. Cops were oppressive. Ice Cube said, "Fuck the police." And police said, "Oh, we finna be even more oppressive now because we're getting the heat from y'all."
You ain't lying. You not, and especially in a completely different time period with less laws. You gotta think, in order these laws were made because something happened.
So in order to fix this and de-escalate the whole problem, what are we supposed to do? Say, oh, never mind, we ain't saying fuck 12 no more. Y'all cool. Now it's y'all so we gotta, do we have to apologize to cops for them to start being cool to us again since they mad at us for being mad at them?
Nope. And this came
Where does
from,
it start?
nope. And I heard this just yesterday. Nobody should have to conform or make me feel comfortable. As a police officer, that's not your job to make me feel comfortable. This came from a white person. It's not your job to make me feel comfortable. You shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to change who I am as a person to make me feel comfortable. You know, but again, you have to have this, you got to have an open dialogue and say, well, you did this. Uh, let me start over. You have to be able to teach, have this conversation, not be offended by anybody. Take the, if you are offended, just deal with it and understand that everybody is different. Republican, Democrats. I don't have to like you, but I have to respect you. I should respect you. Now, if I'm not giving you that respect, we have an issue. But I shouldn't have to deal with, again, back to the egos. I know I'm jumping around because there's so much and such a loaded question.
Oh, it's a lot. Oh, it's a lot.
Back to the ego complex, or this complex that cops have because of the ego. It's a let me think about this one for a minute. As a black man, as I shouldn't have to change who I am. Okay, as a cop, dealing with so many different situations and diverse, the whole, totality of whatever we deal with, you need to accept that everybody's different. You need to accept the fact that I didn't grow up in the cornfields and I grew up in the hood. You need to change who you are. So I will blame, I'll blame cops on that 100% because you have to be neutral. You got to be neutral in the situation. I can't talk to you like I talk to the farmer, the same way I talk to the kid in the grocery store, or the same way I'm talking to the kid that watched his dad get killed by the police. He's going to resent me. I have to talk to you differently. We have to be fluid in how we interact with people. And that's black officers, that's white officers, because we are the ones that hold the key and we're the ones that have to hold the power. So, I mean, that kind of just made me think about something differently completely on that. But yeah, I think we need to be fluid in how we deal with the community. And it's not our job. It's not the community's job or the person we dealing with to make us feel comfortable. If that makes sense. I'm jumping.
It makes perfect sense.
I'm going to have to write that. I'm thinking about that one.
Let's come back to that. But it does make perfect sense because you are coming into the community. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
I'm coming to where
y'all
you
coming
live.
into our community. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, if we don't roll out the apple pies and the beers for y'all, it's not really our responsibility to help you understand. And people say the same thing about racism in general. It's not black people's job to make you understand that being racist is not okay or oppressive is not okay. A quick question coming from Terrence Somerville, and this was brought up earlier today, and I actually jumped on a comment talking to somebody about it. If a bystander sees two cops harassing and damn near killing somebody, like yesterday where the dude kept saying, get off him, get off him, get off of him, what is his gray area when it comes to trying to jump in and get that knee off that man's neck? I see your eyes open up, and I responded a certain way too, because it's a death sentence justifiable by law. But what's your take on it? Like, I see somebody that if this chokehold goes on too much longer, this man is going to die. It just is what it is. As a bystander that's sitting there, and a lot of people say, man, if I'm getting choked out by Zach, help me. Don't record it. Help me. Help me.
Help me.
You know what I'm saying? But where's our gray area as pedestrians? Because we do have the right to do it like citizens arrest and stuff like that, even though we don't. But that was the whole Ahmaud situation. But as a civilian, where do we sit at?
So, in reference to this video, you had a bunch of people telling them, get off him, get off him. And so I'm like, man, What if someone ran into that and pushed that officer off his neck, like get off him?
No gun, no nothing. We
No
just
gun,
boom, get
nothing.
off of him. Dude
I
gets the
can
coffin.
imagine. I can imagine how that situation would have turned out. Only
What do you
imagine. Like,
surmise would have happened? I'm unarmed. Dude been sitting here talking from 20
I'm not
minutes.
saying that
I'm
person
like,
would have
forget
died,
it.
but
Boom, boom.
you would have got arrested, hands down. You would have got arrested. Um, but then looking back on the video, like, man, you wish someone did do that. But again, that's the buddy check system. He should have checked him immediately. Um, but yeah, I don't know. You know, and again, I can imagine if I was in a situation where I'm wrestling somebody in that high intense situation, not trying to kill them, if someone ran out of nowhere and pushed me, and then you have other officers showing up and they're like, oh, what the heck is going on? I can't imagine it's going to be a good situation. But again, it's going to be that it's still a team. It's still that, again, the blue line. If my coworker's getting pushed on and beat up on, yeah, we're going to go protect the person we work with. You know, so I can't speak of that. I don't like doing the what if situations, but I can't imagine it would have been good. I know I would expect someone to be like, hey, you need to get this dude off me. Like, yeah, I know if that would happen to us, you're going to jail. Easy.
If you get pushed out the way?
Oh, yeah, you're going to jail. I
I
just
don't
can't
know.
imagine you, and looking back, I wish someone would have did it, but I can't, who knows what would have happened. I can't imagine it would have been good, no.
So shout out to Stavia. She said she got a couple joints on here. Actually, a couple questions. But how do you check an out of control ego when you got a partner that obviously is a hothead? And how do you police a community when you have a us versus them mentality?
You can check guys that, again, that comes down. I can't take, like, you can always check your buddy. If that's your friend, that's your coworker, you can tap like, hey, it happens. Like it just you can do that. Now we are talking like the most extreme circumstances ever. Like what happened yesterday or the other day. I can't speak for that officer. I don't know what that officer was thinking. Throughout the community of the guys I talked to, that is not the mentality of cops.
But so real quick, even since it's not the mentality of cops, did you look at the video like everyone else is like, bruh, like, and I understand people trying to leave some room for error because we don't know the backstory. I
Right.
actually read somewhere that they used to work together in a restaurant, which is a total. Did you see that?
Oh, you know, I don't get in.
It's something going
I
around
don't
saying
get
that
in all
those
that.
two, the cop and George Floyd, worked together at a restaurant years back.
Hmm.
And so that was a completely different spin on the story that's going to unravel over time. But but damn, I forgot my question. Um, oh man, I forgot. My bad. I can't remember what it was. But we did have another question coming from Paul, and he said, uh, please explain what change you expect to see in policing. Is it doing exactly what it was put in place to do? It was not created with black man's rights in mind. So how do you change something that is functioning exactly as it was intended?
This is thank you for the question, Paul. Paul is the militant mindset brother that is that's Paul. All right.
Where
And Paul, if we have these debates all the time,
Paul and
going
Cop
back and
2?
forth. Uh, Paul is, I see what Paul's point is, and you have to change, but you have to change the laws. But again, um, I go to work to protect the community, to protect people. We put our lives on the line to protect people, not white, black, green, or brown. That's what we do. All right. Um, I can't answer the question of how do you protect this system because I don't think I'm not protecting the system.
But the grand scheme of things, because we understand, like, and I understand, I know you, Zach. Like, I know your intentions. You one of two cops that I know. You know what I mean? Shout out to Marcus Smith. He just joined not too long ago. But not necessarily talking to you, but the grand scheme of things, outside of your department, outside of Champaign, outside of Illinois and Chicago, we know there's a systemic problem nationwide. That's what we're talking about. Like
A
addressing it
systemic
generally when you
problem
see it
that
from that
started centuries ago.
Right.
So you already
That's
have
still
this.
being maintained and held together.
You know how much you would have to change. You have to change. How can you change stuff in your president saying loot or shoot? So it's a trickle down mentality. You don't like. How do you change that system? You'd almost have to start over. You have to start over. You have a system. You have kids that in grade school. You know, my daughter's biracial. One of my daughters is biracial, and we're having issues of a teacher calling her colored when she was little. So how do you where that's such a loaded question, and it's you can't put the system on cops to change it. You can't put it on the African American community to change it. You can't put it on what do you do to change it? That everybody asks this question. Oh, what do you guys do? Well, what is the answer? If you had the answer or there was an answer, I'm sure someone would have said it by now. I can't answer those questions. If someone has the answer to these questions, please let me know. Text me, hit my DMs, let me know.
Do you feel like white supremacy is running rampant in the police force? Not yours, in the police force. Do you think white supremacy has infiltrated into the police force to a high degree?
No, I think you have guys who are older. You get older, you have this disdain because you're in these communities. You're dealing with the same people, but they don't look like you. These issues are happening in urban communities. You don't have a lot of black officers policing in urban communities. You have white officers policing in urban communities. Okay, so it's a constant. They are these idiots. Well, if all your calls are coming out of a housing complex, you got white people literally in police uniforms going to black communities having these issues. You're taking officers who are human race that are going to stereotype. Everybody stereotypes. We need to not. You do. It is what it is. You have your preconceived notions of this person. You might have an experience with the person and how they acted last time. You could have caught this dude on a bad day, and he could be a completely different person. So, what do you change? What can you change? Not what do you change.
But do you think white supremacy is in there? Because like even when we talked about it before, because I remember you told me about your training, and I was like, man, that's kind of racist. So if there's racist implications in the training of police officers, wouldn't it be evident that there's white supremacy running slight rampant throughout police departments nationwide? Would that be fair to say? If it's ingrained in the training, the people that actually graduate and get to be out on the force have been indoctrinated with a certain degree of white supremacy to actually navigate with, even if you're a black cop, because you've been trained with that perspective in mind.
Do you call it white supremacy because it's a white dominated culture?
White supremacy, not because.
Are you saying white supremacy as in racist white people just leading the department? That's what I don't. What are you saying?
Well, I mean, you could say white supremacy to like leading the department, but also when we get out here in the streets, I'm comfortable enough to oppress you because I feel in my soul that I'm greater than you. I'm better than you. I mean, you could almost take it to like a Michael Jordan situation, right? Last Dance, everybody watched it. It was legit, and it really told the story of how Michael Jordan put it in his head that he was superior than somebody else, or that somebody thought they were superior than him, and he went out on the court with the intentionality to legitimately suffocate folks' throats to where they couldn't breathe no more. And that's what people say Bron ain't got. They say Bron just hoops, but he doesn't have that killer. He doesn't go in with that dominant slit your throat like Jordan does. So if you put that mentality in the streets with police officers, I have a mentality like I am better than you, and in the event that I need to, I'm going to leverage my position, my capacity with the law on my side to significantly suppress and oppress you. Do you think that's indoctrinated? Not that people go out there and do that every day. Is that indoctrinated in the training and therefore materializes and shows itself in the actual police force when people are out on the street?
The way you put it, I could say yes. But on the other side is...
My man came through!
But the way you worded it, I would have to say yes, but you're saying that's the law. And again, you have to factor in the situation. Say we have people that won't clear out of an area and we're telling them, hey, you need to leave, you need to leave. How many times, like, what do you do?
Granted, now look, we'll flip the coin right now because I'm glad you brought that up. First thing we wanted to knock out is, the George Floyd thing was terribly mistaken. It was totally messed up. And there is indeed some degree of supremacy going on in the police task force nationwide because it's indoctrinated in them starting at training. Before we get on to the pedestrian side of things, we got from the cops, we want to go to the pedestrian side of things, but I want to ask you real quick, the Asian dude that did not check his partner, should he be arrested? Because he hasn't been arrested yet. 4 officers, only 1 arrested, other 3 are still free. Should they be arrested and charged? From your perspective, given the video that you saw.
I mean, he was keeping people back from the situation that happened.
But he didn't keep his partner in check.
But he was also focusing on the people in front of him.
But he knows a knee is on the neck of another man on the ground.
Again, and that's what's so crazy. This is a fluid situation.
Give us the perspective.
Yeah, it's a fluid situation. So think about it. If I'm wrestling somebody and you got 2-3 guys on them, and now you start getting a crowd, you're trained. You have to start, okay, hold on, I got to start scanning to make sure no one else jumps in this situation.
Because he was repeatedly asked by several people, including a person that I think she worked for the fire department. I think, if I remember right, she's like, I work for Minneapolis Fire Department. They said, bro, just check the pulse. Check the pulse. Look, he's not breathing. He's not moving. Nobody's armed. Of course, you got to be mindful somebody could pop up. But, bro, he's not breathing. He has no pulse. He's not moving. Check the pulse. Check the pulse. That goes on for a good 5 minutes. Is he responsible?
Again, and that's the culture of policing. I want to say this. The culture, you got to be, if you want to be a police officer, be strong and exercise these rights, you got to be strong and converse within yourself. If you see something wrong, speak up. Speak up.
So if you see somebody on the ground not breathing, something might be wrong.
Saying, and again, and it's so hard because you're going off of other officers. I'm saying the guys I work with.
No, I ain't talking about the guys you work with. I'm talking about the Asian dude right there that was told repeatedly to check the pulse because he hearing this dude saying, I can't breathe, mama, but then all of a sudden you don't hear nothing no more.
You got to be willing to say, hey, that's the buddy check.
Right. That's the buddy check. That's why you my man.
But you can't.
That's why you my man. So is he responsible? Because he didn't do the buddy check, and he knows that somebody isn't breathing anymore. Like, he knows that. He ain't looked up. Hey, bro, you might want to. I ain't saying leave your post. I ain't saying push dude off, even though you should have. But as a cop, I'm just saying it's like, is he responsible? Because he, like you said, Zach, he didn't do a buddy check. Is he responsible? Just like the other dude. Because I tell you this, if I'm riding with you and you're not a cop and you got a gun and a key in the back of the trunk, I'm responsible. If it's your gun and your kilo in the trunk and I'm riding with you, I'm responsible. Well, it's your, hey, that ain't my kilo, that's that kilo. That ain't my strap, that's that. Yeah, but it's your buddy. You need to make sure, you need to make sure you don't ride with people that, So if I'm responsible for your strap, you gotta be responsible for somebody else's death if that's your man's. That's your man's.
You speak the truth. You're speaking.
I want to hear from you. I ain't the cop. I don't know. I don't know. Is he responsible? Should he be charged? I ain't going to arrest you, Zach. You good? You ain't on trial.
No, it's true. Again, I'm gonna speak from the black side of it. You need to check him.
You need to check him. But since he didn't check him and he died during your supervision without you checking him, essentially
you're culpable in the situation. Yeah, I could say you're. I could say.
So he needs to be arrested and charged.
That I don't know.
I ain't gonna arrest you, Zach. You
I know, but I'm saying. I don't. That's hard. That's hard. As a police, that's hard. That's a hard answer. I don't think I don't even know if I can answer that one.
Okay. I got a girlfriend who has a kid. We live together. It's not my kid, it's her kid. We see these situations all the time. She's abusing the kid. Kid ends up dead. Am I responsible? Ain't my kid. I mean, that's my girl, but I ain't choked the man.
What you're
I ain't
saying
choked
is
the
right. When
8-year-old
it comes
boy
to
out.
that, someone's got to speak up, and that's what it all comes down to.
So since I didn't speak up and tell my girlfriend stop beating up the kid, and the kid dies, are y'all gonna walk around me and just arrest her? Or since I've been living here too and I done witnessed all this for the last 6 months, am I responsible?
I would think so. Yes.
So is he responsible?
I think he's
Come
responsible.
on, Zach! Oh, Zach! Oh, Zach! Oh, Zach! Damn! Oh, Zach!
I think he's responsible in the fact that, again, you have to, and that's a moral thing, though. That's a moral thing.
We ain't talking about morals. We talking about the law. Is he legally responsible for that man's death by standing on the sideline and not checking his pulse and checking his buddy?
But
because if we talk about morals, then if that's the case, me riding with you, that's your gun. I shouldn't go to jail.
He's like crowd control. So in a tactical standpoint, he's not here.
I'm crowd control, but fam, he didn't say shit. Fam, take his pulse. Dude ain't saying nothing. Hey fam, check his pulse real quick. All right, I ain't left my post.
That's a speak up. It is. It's a speak up. It's a speak up.
So he didn't speak up. Is he responsible? I got you, Zach. I got you.
I'm gonna say this. Is he responsible for the death of him? He's responsible. Yeah, I mean, you do. You got to include him in. Yes, you got to include him in.
Because we all know. We grew up. I mean, you got solid parents. I got solid parents. We grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else. We know it. And I ain't on radio, so I'm about to talk a little bit more freely. But you know, when we was growing up, somebody else can get you fucked up. We was raised that way. You know what I mean?
And again, when I always say that, it's so hard. Because I truly believe, like, and this is for the guys I work with, it's so hard to talk about a department because every department is so different.
We get that.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you this, I feel the same way when I be, even with, I mean, people know where I stand. I mean, NAACP, man, stand up. You know where I stand on. But I see the same thing. It's like, well, this happened in North Dakota, but when we went over to D.C., how come he didn't get the same treatment? Well, you dealing with, I mean, it's a myriad of different things going on in a million different moving parts that would, I mean, you dealing with different laws, different police force, different people, different intentions, different motives, different local laws, different, you know what I mean? Everything can be different. So I personally hate when people say, look what happened. This dude stole some cigarettes in Florida and he got, you know what I'm saying? You know, he got beat up, you know what I'm saying? But then this other white dude in San Francisco beat up his wife and all he got was probation. Well, I mean, and it shouldn't be the same, but I mean, they didn't have the same judge. They didn't go to the same courtroom. Like I mean, everything has to be the same. We have to have two incidents in the same city, same officers, same case, same judges, same courtroom, same applicable law. So I get that for sure.
So that's why it's so hard. Like I said, yeah, it's definitely hard. Again, I work with guys that would put a roof on your house. You know, if you need a shirt off your back, they're running. And that's also, we also need to speak, that's the culture that we're in as well. If I call somebody, hey, go check up on somebody, we're running to our coworker's house if something's wrong. That's also the culture. That's also the mentality. And that's the battle that you have because you literally go to war with these people all the time.
Facts.
Think about it, every day. If a situation happens, we are going in there together. You know, you see what I'm saying? So you gotta
trust that man with your life.
You gotta trust that person with your life, and so that's why it's just a hard statement.
I had shout out to Jen. What up, Jen? I see you, Jen. What up, Jen? She said, "Our officers trained on how to handle a partner not doing the right thing. Are you trained on how to approach your guy if he's not doing the right thing?"
You do, and there's ways about it. I think it's set up. If something happens that you don't think was right or they didn't handle it a certain way, they might take you to the side. Hey, this is what's going on. You can go to your sergeant, like, hey, this is what happened. I'm feeling a certain way about what happened. I don't think it was right. And there are ways you can go talk to your coworkers. Typically, if something you don't feel right about a certain way, they just address you like, hey, let's talk about this. So and it happens. Like I said, it's happened. Like I said, and I'm saying mine is minimal as being checked because I remember a certain officer on a traffic stop when I was training. I let a guy get out and check his taillight or something like that. Something after the traffic stop. He's like, whoa, and we completely differed on this. I still feel I was right. I understand where he was coming from, but yeah, and we had that conversation. So I think you got to have that way. You sideways now, bro. To have that conversation.
Oh, they said I can't go sideways. Hey, so shout out my homie Sean Rutt, man. He said, does the academy have a moral test? Like, are cops' true intentions ever discovered before it's too late? Is there a moral compass test that you guys got to do? I know you guys got to do something psychologically, right?
You take psychology. You take your little psych test. They do their background checks, and most departments spend a lot of money on background checks. They go to your neighbor's house. They do all that. So, I mean, you have that, but who's your, say one day I wake up and I'm like, I'm about to go do whatever. How is that on? It is a responsible department, but what if you just randomly woke up and said, "Oh, you just snapped, you go do something"? Who was that on? I think people sometimes forget you have to take in that this is not Minority Report. I don't know what you're thinking. You don't know what I'm thinking, and that is the issue. There's so many variables to this. The police departments do most of it. I mean, just from the civil side of it, and just the possible being sued, they do check. You do all these background checks. You ask friends. You do all this research on this person, hoping to find the best candidate. Everybody's made mistakes. Everybody has a past, but it just is what it is. I mean, you can't. Again, how do you? This is not Minority Report because this one day this dude's gonna snap. How do you judge that? How do you find a test to get that? What? Again, this is that one thing where you have one bad apple is spoiling this bunch.
I seen, man, I can't remember what they said. They was like, man, I'm tired of hearing about the one bad apples, G, because what they say. I cannot remember what it was.
And there's more than one bad apple.
Yeah.
No,
I forgot what they said.
History's going to show you there's more than one bad apple. But you got to think, something that happened so far away from us, everybody in this uniform is on you. What profession takes the heat for that? Think what profession that you can think of takes the heat for every single officer.
Have you felt like the heat been on your back the last couple of days when you go out to the street? Or is it not like heavy there?
Not here. I mean, there's always going to be tension, I work with guys that I can have this conversation. I don't see it. I'm on day shift. I was in the courthouse today. We got COVID going on, so it's kind of slow. But I've been in situations where a situation happened, man. F the police, y'all just gonna kill us. I was going home one day. I'm getting off, taking my uniform off, and a lady walks up to me and says, "What I got to do to get y'all to stop killing us?" Like, I have never killed anybody, man. But if you want to talk to me civilly, I will have this conversation.
But the thing is, Zach, you got to, and I know you know this, but the thing is, as soon as you put on a badge, y'all on the same squad. You are teammates with the random person in San Diego that is a cop.
Exactly.
Y'all on the same squad.
So put that, and that's why I need people to understand. Think about that. Knowing me, think about that.
I mean, you feel like, man, and I remember one thing you had told me, I was gagging, but I told you I know this other cop that joined the force, and I mean he switched up his whole life. Like he different, white dude, cool, you know what I'm saying? But he just changed up, and he going hard now. Like he repped the blue, he gang, I remember you told me, you was like, oh man, I don't be tripping like that. I just go to work and just come on to the
true.
crib.
I go to work.
I just be going to work.
I go to work.
But I'm sure you know people that live and die and breathe and like, I'm gang. Like, and the thing is, we talk about actual gangs. Like, man, like we try to knock people that have gangs within their own hood and what they're doing to try to make sure they can sustain themselves, because you know illegal activity really to just bring money in to eat. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, all that gang, but it's like police is just legal gang. It's the biggest gang in the world essentially.
And I look at this like, again, it's a negative situation. As a community looking in, we need to stop thinking that the policing in this society, policing is so like it's like, I guess I need to know, what do you guys think we talk about in briefing?
We don't think about that. We don't think about y'all briefing. We don't give a damn about y'all briefing. We thinking about when we get pulled over.
Okay,
because we're thinking about what we're thinking about. You know what I mean? Honestly, and you black too, but we think about being black, because you remember the days in the P, 19, 20 years old. You know, we had a couple rules. You know, we had a couple rules. You ain't riding in the car 4D. You gonna get pulled over. If you riding through, it was a point in time we'd take our fitted hats off so you wouldn't see the silhouette of the hat. You got to hurry up and take your hat off riding through certain areas. You don't go straight down Main Street and go into downtown. No, you go around and come into downtown through the back way. So we ain't thinking about y'all briefings. We thinking about, you know what I mean? We thinking about, and at that time back then, you weren't thinking about getting killed, but you were thinking about having your time wasted, or, you know what I'm saying, getting picked up for something that's petty, or like I got in trouble. I got pulled over. At top of 2017, I was in a cocaine white Charger. I get the hype. It was cold. I get the hype. It's me and my brother. And so I'm coming off Gale, and really dude turned around and followed me. So I'm coming down Gale, minding my own business. You know what I'm saying? Me, my brother, my nephew in the back, who you met over in Danville. So we riding. And I passed the cop, but I ain't thinking nothing, because the cop coming like this. I'm going like this. I ain't thinking nothing. We going opposite directions. Everything Gucci. I hit a stop sign, and I look back, and all of a sudden he behind me. I'm like, oh man, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no weed. I ain't got no gun. I ain't got no drugs. I got my license. I'm straight. But I'm still, I don't know nothing about y'all damn briefing, but I'm still like, here we go. So I bend to the left and go up towards turn left on McClure going up towards University. You know what I mean? And I stop, complete stop, look left, look right, signal on, because I know y'all behind me, and I turn right. And so then the dude, the cop is behind me, and I see lights on, but I go right a little bit, and I see it look like he's trying to get from behind me. So I'm thinking he got an emergency. He got to go somewhere. And so I'm in his way. So thankfully he ain't looking for me, but I'm in his way. So let me get on out the way. And so then what happened? He was still behind me. So I'm thinking I'm confused. So I just go to the crib. I went up and went to my mama's crib, been that left. And so he following me. And before you know it, it's legit 9-10 cop cars going all the way up the street. I'm like, you was coming for me? And so he come to the door all aggressive, like, man, when I pull you over, you got to, chest out, everything else. I'm like, bruh, I didn't think he was pulling me over. Fam got overly aggressive, and he said, get out the car. I was like, man, I don't feel safe getting out the car. I was like, I think I'm straight. And he was like, get out the car. I looked at my brother, I was like, nah, G, I don't think I'm finna get out the car, I'm straight. And I know Zach look at you, and look at you like, nah. I was like, nah. So anyway, long story short, he after a while I got out the car, didn't put up a fight, wasn't resisting arrest or nothing like that, but he handcuffs me, put me in the back of the whip, and my mom come out like, what's going on? I was like, man, nah, shit, that I don't know what they doing, because I still don't know why I'm being pulled over. He said he's being pulled over for weed. I'm like, weed? I ain't got no weed. And so he's talking to my mom as I'm in the back, and he like, sorry, ma'am, he got pulled over for weed. First of all, you don't know if I have weed or not from the outside of the car. You just came up behind me. You don't know if I got weed or not. Secondly, I'm in the car. He pulls out a baggie from my car that, it used to have weed in it. It wasn't present, you know what I'm saying? But no, Zach, Wasn't no weed in there though, fam. Was no weed in there, fam. Wasn't no weed in there. So he tells my mom, he got put over for weed. I was like, Mom, ask him where's the weed. Ask him where it's at. And he couldn't brandish it. He was just like, oh man, look at all this weed, man, look at all this weed. Rubbing a plastic bag with nothing in it. End up going to jail. You know, I was talking shit. We're gonna talk about that too. And I end up going to jail. And do you know what I end up going to jail for? Do you know what that final charge is, fam?
Mm-mm.
He said, you know those white lines at the light? He said, when you go up to those lines, you're supposed to come to a complete stop. He didn't come to a complete stop. His tires touched the white line. Because I'm like, no, I stopped. I turned my signal on, and I turned. I knew he was behind me, so I wasn't no dummy. You know what I mean? He says, no, your tires were not supposed to touch that white line. So because your tires touched that white line, that was an illegal move and everything else, and now you're going to jail for the tires touching that white line. So and my mom said, it was like, no, people all the time pull up to the stoplight, and they tires hit that white line and they turn. And the officer said, no, they don't. People don't drive like that. That's against the rules. That was a perfect example of a cop just really seeing me in a cocaine white Charger, thinking being in a cocaine white Charger, and trying to fabricate a whole bunch of random BS to try to get me to jail. Successfully got me to jail. Everything was thrown out. So I say all that to say, no, we ain't thinking about y'all briefing anymore. We're thinking about the fact that I could go to jail for absolutely nothing, and it is okay on y'all behalf. And now I have to take out time. I got to call off work, and I got to pay a $500 fee because you saw my tires touch the white line. And where you go? Oh, Zach got mad. Oh man, Zach, where you at? We're gonna get him back.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what happened.
Blame Jessica Davis, my twin sister.
Oh, she called?
Called. My daughter is, but
that's what we thinking about, fam. Getting pulled over for nothing. Getting pulled over because we had a fitted hat on. Getting pulled over. Since when did you feel it illegal? A white person has never felt it illegal to ride 4 deep in a car. And you knew we couldn't ride 4 deep in a car. Don't you ride 4 deep in a car, fam. We don't really want nobody in the back seat.
I can't speak for, and I guess let me to take this. That's why we have the issue. That's why we had this issue. You had an experience. I can't justify that experience. I don't know what that officer's idea was. That's the issue. You've had an experience. I've had an experience. And then again, like I told you yesterday, my great-great-grandfather or my great-grandmother taught my great-grandparents how to act when it comes to law and law enforcement, how to act, right? My grandmother, in turn, teaches my dad how to act when it comes to law enforcement. In turn, my dad is going to teach me how to act when it comes to law enforcement. So think about this. You are talking about generation after generation after generation. That's an issue. Now, is it illegal for you to stop on the white line? If you look at the Illinois Vehicle Code, yes, it is. Okay? If you want to speak in the realms of the law.
Yeah, I mean, in the law.
It's, you know.
But the thing is, but the problem is, that's not why I was pulled over. That was a reason to pull me over because you feel like I'm not supposed to be. I mean, Zach, you ain't got to respond on that front.
But it's true. I can't speak for that.
Those petty laws are put in place to be able to have the power and reason to pull somebody over that you want pulled over. Because nobody stops at that white line, Zach. Don't make me get on my Stephen A. Nobody stopped at that white line. I wasn't pulled over because of the white line. Because if I was pulled over because of the white line, he wouldn't have known I was in the white line because he wouldn't have came and turned around and
everybody that's watching, take the time to read the Illinois Vehicle Code, and I guarantee you, you probably can't drive more than 5-6 miles down the road, and I think that's pushing it without doing something illegal.
And that is facts. But those are put in place to where a cop can have the right and reason to pull me over, because I wasn't pulled over for the white lines act. I was pulled over because I, to him, had no business being in a white Charger. That's why I was pulled over, and that's why we have a problem with cops, because we can't even have nothing. Here in Peoria, bro, I'm serious, Zach. You as a black man, you drive around in a brand new Porsche in Peoria, I give you 4 hours. And you give yourself 4 hours. You drive around in a Porsche as a black dude in Peoria, sunny day, windows down, everything back, driving the speed limit. I give you 4 hours.
But
A
see, that's the
Lambo, I
difference.
give you 2 hours.
That's
You
my
drive around
argument.
in a Lamborghini in Peoria as a black man. You're not supposed to be in that Lambo.
And I think
Let
that's
me
what
figure out what traffic law he's breaking so I can figure out how he's in this Lambo. It's got to be drugs. It's got to be something because he does not belong in that car.
And maybe that's me being naive on some things because, again, I'm going to relate to the guys I talk. Like, I can't imagine that they care.
You can imagine who cares about
what someone's driving. In my mentality, and the guys I talk to, let me hear me out. To think that sometimes we are literally, you guys that always say, "Oh, you just pulled me over because of this, that." Like, man, sometimes we just going to lunch. And I can't speak for that. Now, do you have guys that I'm lying and it's complete falsehood to say that people have not been pulled over just because they're black? I can't. It happens. Again, when me speaking to, I cannot relate or I cannot speak to guys that's happened to. I can relate to it. I can't speak or relate to the officers that do that because I don't believe I work with those officers. And that is the dichotomy of this whole issue. As a black
it's also
man,
quite possible that you've never experienced that side.
I've never experienced that side, and if it happened, I wouldn't know. Who's to say they would do it in front of me?
Because your cop friends could follow you to the P and get around everybody you know from the P, and they look like, Zach, I know you kicked it with these type of people.
But y'all know who I am. I don't change who I am.
But I know. But the thing is, so they don't even suspect that about you, so you couldn't possibly suspect that about them.
Okay, but man, it's just I don't know. And again, that's the battle because again, and that's the battle. One issue which we started for was being black and being in law enforcement because I literally am with these guys all the time. I'm with them when I'm with more than I'm with my family. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? I got a cop that is barbecuing ribs. Hey, Zach, I got these in there. Like, you can't. It's hard to speak for that. Now, do I say that guys are in this country, stuff hasn't happened that wasn't supposed to happen? I've had guys, again, pull me over. I've been in situations. I can go off of my experiences. But, and that's always the issue. It's so hard to speak on these issues individually when I have not experienced that issue.
I got a question from the homie Govia. When it comes to community relations, are y'all required to do any amount of community service hours to like be in the community and be able to relate to the people that y'all serve?
We necessarily aren't, but I don't call it a requirement. But again, that comes to your moral code. So there's no requirement for an officer to spend time in the community that he serves and protects and has the right to wield a gun in. I would just assume that comes with the job. You're you know what I mean? Like, it comes with the job. Us as our department, as you know, we saw your nephew. We go into the schools. We volunteer to do that. Hey, do you guys want to do it? Yeah, guys do it all the time. So do I call it necessarily? Is it mandated? No, I think it's one of those things. It's just kind of to be expected. You do it, and I give you kudos, Zach. Like you definitely pull up. I done seen you at Central. I done seen you at different schools. I done pulled up on you at a church function before. You had let the kids get all in the whip, and they was, you know what I'm saying, turn on the lights and all kind of stuff. But I would argue that is a fundamental problem in the police department. If you guys do not have mandated, I would say, 30 hours a year to start. 30 hours a year. Well, why are you mandating when guys do it all the time? Guys do it, fam. You do it. You ain't guys. You ain't the same. The person that pulled me over in that Charger for no reason, he's not doing it. He's trying to figure out how he can become captain and sergeant and raise that pay grade. He's not doing it, fam. speaking for my department and the people I get, think about this. We are like people. We're not. We do the McDonald's. We do a joint at McDonald's that let the community come out and just hang out with this. I've seen guys go to baseball games. If you're watching a kid, that kids walk up to you, they talk to you. Kids come up to the courthouse, they come up and talk to you. Why is it? I think it comes with the job.
Of
It's
course,
very hard to. So I feel like you kind of doing. You got, again, like someone just mentioned, you got the school resource officers. It just comes with the job.
Bruh,
Like,
so does practicing comes with the job of being a basketball player. But them practices is mandated. And not only are those practices mandated, community service to a degree in the NBA, we've seen it, NBA Cares, is mandated. If you riding around with a gun in neighborhoods that you don't know nobody in, it should be mandated as a part of the job that you come out and actually shake hands and understand the people that you work with on a volunteer basis. I said it should be mandated, especially given that the tension between community and police is high tense, it's high stress. And knowing that, you should have to, it should be some additional requirements for you to be able to have the power to be the law, the power to pull guns, and the power to run up in people's cribs without any type of authorization or warrants to a degree sometimes and things like that.
You don't think that would be...
Guys are doing it. But I don't want to hear that out of 100 people you work with, 30% are active all the time. Because kudos to them. If out of the 100 people you work with, 30% are in the community all the time, and I know you one of them, I'm concerned about them other 70% that's coming to our communities to check us and collect a check and go back to the crib out in the good neighborhoods. I got a problem with them 70 people.
I can respect that. I can respect your take on that. And then coming from, I think when you start mandating guys, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you create, like, if you're gonna get them, I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing?
No, because it's a culture change, and we collectively agree that the culture is the problem.
It does need change. It's true, and
it's a cultural problem.
But it happened.
Say mandated.
I like your theory. I can understand. I can see that.
So real quick, we're gonna switch up for the people that's still watching. Appreciate y'all still with us, man. I got the homie Zach, who's the sheriff's deputy out of Vermilion County, went to Central, played basketball, won the chip in 2004, you know what I'm saying, did the whole thing, and now he's a cop. We got to talk about the other side too, you know what I mean? Because I'm a big proponent of, you know what I mean, like, I hate when you see somebody attacked by the police, you know what I mean? Or beat up or shot or something like that. But it's always my prayer on the back end, even though it doesn't justify it. It's my prayer on the back end that that there's nothing to be said about the dude that was brutalized. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? If you hear I got beat up by a cop, I would hope you would ride for me. Right. But if they hear, well, it all started out when Marcus just walked up to a cop car and punched dude in the face while he was sitting in the cop car and kicked the windows, and the cop got out, and then he got beat up by a cop and he got shot in the leg. People are like, oh, bro, like, it takes away from the argument. And it's like a lot of people don't realize that, like, yes, police are brutalizing black people at a disproportionate number. Yes. And it's messed up and it got to be fixed, and it's a deep-rooted issue because white supremacy, in my opinion, has infiltrated the police force. But we have to stand up with the law at the same time. And if we want the law and everything to be on our side, the reason why MLK, like we talked about yesterday, the reason why Martin Luther King was successful and nonviolent is because they was getting beat up and didn't do nothing. So it came into the televisions of families, white and black alike, like, dang, they put them hoes on those, they sick those dogs on them, and they didn't do nothing. If they was fighting back, it's like, because the people that are on the other side look for a reason, like, look what happened, look what he did though, Mm-hmm. And so we as black people, especially black men, have to put ourselves in a position, even though it's not fair, we got to put ourselves in a position to where the judge can't say we did anything. Because as soon as they have some type of reason to say we did anything, then our case is more of an uphill battle than it had to be. What's your take on how people need to be cautious about how they navigate dealing with police officers, even if they are being antagonistic and aggressive?
And this is like, I'm gonna speak from a police officer's perspective on this one. Police officer, don't antagonize the situation. Okay. No, how close do you think you can get to someone's face humanly, and just the human's face, and you're not going to have a response because you're making it personal now towards me. And again, we've all seen the pictures. You got people in their face. It's like how much longer you think this is going to happen? It's not going to happen. Like you're doing this to incite it. And yes, officers have to show, you have to have so much restraint and calmness when you're dealing with that. You have to also take into account the situation that is going on. You're not trying to entice anything. Vent, protest, do what you need to do. All right? I'm all for the protest. Don't antagonize the situation. At the end of the day, and it's so messed up because I'm going to say this from a police officer, Brandon just says you got to comply. It's kind of like, yeah, you deal with the rest in court from the cop side of it. As a black man, you're like, well, man, I'm probably going to take this court. It ain't going to go good for me anyway. And again, you have this situation. Again, everybody has these theories, questions. What can we do?
Shout out to the homie Brandon, Real Talk. He said define antagonize.
We'll just speak for this. If you have we'll just go off of a riot situation. How, you're in his face, you spitting on somebody, getting an inch or two away from their face. It's like, well, wait a minute. You're going to have a reaction. That's why if that situation, you have to have so much restraint. You have to have so much restraint, and the good cops are going to have all the restraint in the world. You have to, you got to have it. Now, I see B. Williams talking about Sandra and all that. Again, and he's bringing up names. I cannot speak for those officers. I cannot speak for that situation because I was not there.
Some people that didn't make it to court.
It's true, but think about that. And that's going to always be the unfair conversation because, again, because of certain people, certain actions, we're going to take the blame. Think about that. I'm going to take the blame. I understand that. I own that. That you feel a certain type of way. When I'm not wearing that uniform, I feel a certain type. I get it. You have to own
when
that.
You're not wearing the uniform, you feel a certain type of way.
I'm very cautious of where I am. I know how to act. I know how to move.
Why? Do you feel like why do you as a cop feel like when you ain't got your uniform on, it's like, let me be careful?
Ingrained. That's from when I was little. You know what I mean? That's just.
But as a cop, you still understand it to be legitimate.
Yeah, I'm still, again, I'm still a black man. I know it because.
And even though we go around, at the end of the day, because I know you've been rapping. Hey, shout out to Zach been rapping.
I'm still a black man. I get it. I'm not like, let's not. And honestly,
gang boy.
But honestly, most white people understand they're not. You can't hide what happened. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide that what happened. Like, you understand from when I was little, I was taught, hey, you do this, you're going to have this, you react a certain way, something's going to happen. So I've always been ingrained that way.
But as a cop, even as a cop, as a black man, you still move a certain way because you know that you must, because you've been ingrained. And now even as an adult, you still identified, you haven't loosened up. So for you to be a cop, but still a black man, you take your uniform off, you still move in a way that is indicative of a police problem.
Again, I'm still
Zach.
off.
Zach, you've been trained, you've been raised a certain way to be wary of certain things.
100%.
We all have been.
100%.
And I got to teach my son the same thing.
100%.
You know what I mean? So at the same time, over time, when we, you know what I'm saying? Everybody said coronavirus. Now, some people are like, we was like, oh, I ain't trying to get the corona. But over time, people are starting to get lax. Like, maybe it ain't that bad. Maybe I gotta watch out. But maybe we can go eat outside, and maybe we can. You were turned and ingrained at an early age to be like this and walk straight. And in your 30s, as a black man and as a cop, you stand tight and walk straight because of cops and what you've been told about cops. So that is a sign that there's a police problem.
Again, I've never denied.
You would have loosened up by now.
No, I'm not denying that. But what are you changing when you've been taught about it since you were little, ingrained in it?
You ain't supposed to change nothing because what you were told to be fearful of back then is still the case today. So you aren't walking wrong. You being extra careful is exactly what you need to be doing because what you was taught is still the case. Cops don't like you. Cops don't like you. White cops do not like you. You're a black dude. You got to walk a certain way because they don't like you. They still don't like you. So that shows me that there's a police problem. There's white supremacy still reigning supreme in the police academy, in the police departments nationwide. And you walking a certain way when you take that badge off is proof.
Again, speaking from me. I'm not denying. I've never denied what you said. But again, you have to understand my experience here in this county is not the same. So it's not fair for me to address that because it's me. I'm still a black man. I understand I need to move a certain way. I don't need to, but you know how it is.
No, you're right. You
know how it is. And you've literally been taught that. Like, is it crazy that I'm programmed that way? You're programmed that way. B. Williams is programmed that way. We are all programmed that way. Society needs to know that we're programmed that way. Again, that's a systemic system starting from the beginning. This is not a 2020, oh man, now y'all just started being afraid of police. Been afraid of the police since we were brought over here, or the idea of a police and laws and slavery since we started. Think back in the day, if you didn't do something, we're killing you.
But that was back in the day? It ain't funny either.
It's not, but it's true. Think about that. You have centuries of that. Centuries of it. And it's a crazy thing. Again, I love all the questions that people asking. What can we do?
I got a couple more joints coming in. I appreciate y'all still rocking with us. We've been on here for a minute though, but I've been enjoying it. Zach, I appreciate your time too, bro. Stacy said, what's the responsibility of the black community to black officers? There should be acceptance in relationships both ways. What is the responsibility of the black community to black officers?
I think sometimes in the black community, when I've dealt with us, they forget, like, I was born in the same, I look just like you. I was born in the same neighborhoods as you. When I'm having conversations with people, you gotta understand, it reminds me of being at home. You talk to young kids, like, I can be like, oh man, this dude reminds me of this kid. Like, I'm still you. I'm just doing the job. I'm doing my job. I'm doing this job because I love my job. I love being in the community. I love trying to help. I like trying to help people. I love trying to help people. I want to protect people. But I'm still you. It's no different. I'm the same dude when I take the uniform off. I'm at the barbershop every Friday. I can respond and react and be me and not hide who I am when I'm in a uniform. I don't change up who I am.
So is there responsibility by the black community to a black officer, or is there, like, because I remember before you said it's not y'all job to make it.
And it's not. So it's not. But you got to be able to and willing to go into the community. You can't change up just because you put on that uniform.
And that, man, hey, comment in the comments on that. You said this doesn't sit right with me. What doesn't sit right? Go ahead and comment so we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and people also need to understand I'm also in the county, but I guess, but again, I'm not afraid to drive. I talk to people. Again, I worked in the jail too, so my relationship within the community is completely different because I know them on different levels. But whether that's good or bad, but I have no. the police, police officers have to go to where they are. You got to go into the community. I go into the community. I think you have to. Again, you have to hire guys out of the community. I think you have certain guys, the older guys they all went to high school with them. They know them. They know what's going on. And most cops, that's how it is. It is. And again, it's so hard. And again, I see all the feedback. I have to speak from my experience. I don't know what it's like to work for Peoria Police Department.
So we're going to go to your experience real quick, even though you're going to take a piece of my experience because you got girls and I got a son. Change it up. You got a son, black as you know what I mean? 19 years old. And shout out to DeMario Boone. He got the badge too, and this comes from him. Would you feel comfortable with your police department pulling over your 19-year-old son?
Yes.
Would you feel comfortable with the Peoria Police Department, as you know, pulling over your 19-year-old son?
I would say yes, because I know a lot of Peoria police officers on it. But again, my issues, again, I didn't really have my experience while I was young and being dumb. That was my experience with the police department. Going off of what everybody said, Marcus and all those guys being there, I'm going to say yes. I want to say yes. Am I naive? No.
DeMario said every officer in the department. DeMario, you talking about police or you talking about locally? I mean, for his locally, Champaign area. He said every officer in the department? Or do you identify some bad apples in each department? He's like, yeah, I feel comfortable generally from them being pulled over, but man, if y'all said something about Skaggs, fam, I don't know.
I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable. I feel like in my community, yes. And that's not me sugarcoating, trying to something. That's not I do.
DeMario said, I'm telling you, as a police officer for 15 years, hell no. Our officers locally, he does not feel comfortable with each and every one of them pulling his son over.
If he wants to say each and every one, yeah, okay, I get that, but I'm not in Peoria. I can't answer that.
But each and every officer that you work with, you'd be comfortable.
Probably no. That'd be stupid to say. Yeah, that'd be stupid to say.
Yeah. All of them? No,
but again, and that's the part of being a cop, because you do this job. You really truly believe everybody is in it for the same. And the people I deal with,
and I think that could be a mistake too, because I truly believe, in somebody that knows you, I truly believe that you in it for the right reasons. You know,
and I truly believe everybody I work in.
But the biggest mistake we can make, not only as you being a cop, but us being as people, I've always said this, the biggest mistake you can make in the world is assuming somebody else is as real as you. It's the biggest mistake you can make, because then you get dead.
It's true. But I like to think that, and I guess, hey, that's that little boy, little Zach, like, man, you wanted to be a cop forever. Yeah. You know, but I'm not naive to the situation. Again, we are completely different. You know, I'm on day shift. I'm dealing with the veterans. So it's just different. When it comes to my department, am I comfortable with a son getting pulled over and walking away from it? Okay, yes. Whether anybody likes that answer or not, that's me. That's my belief.
Shout out to Bryson, Brandis. He said, what is the responsibility of black officers to the community?
I mean, I think just letting them know it's still you. If I was being a police officer in Peoria, you guys know who I am. So think about if I'm like, oh man, Zach acting funny. Or I'm walking by and I don't know you guys. I think you can't change up who you are. You can't be fake just because you put on a uniform in the community. That you just got to be real with the situation. You definitely have to start off with little kids, talk to them, start with the families. Hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm Zach. I think one thing that's crazy, and I'm guilty of this, you say, man, when people want to talk to you, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm Deputy Davis. Well, no, you need to change this up, man. Hey, what's up? I'm Zach Davis. Take the officer side. Hey, I'm Zach Davis.
But that's the ego that comes with being a cop.
It is, yeah. But on the job, you do. But you got a different mentality. You put on that uniform, you got a different. So yeah, you got to just. And it's little things like that could change that I'm guilty of too. But hey, I'm Zach Davis. What's up? it is what it is.
And I would almost piggyback on that, even not being a cop. I would say the responsibility would be to actually be in the community, which is another reason why I feel like that should be mandated. Like, if I'm a cop, I need to make sure I'm out here in these streets without the gun, without the badge, in a cutlass on 22.
And I'm going to support it. Happens, but you don't see it. Just because you guys don't see it, because it's not put on Facebook. When I do stuff, everybody don't put my stuff on Facebook. You know, I don't even care about, like, when we did the picture with you. Just let me do it. I like doing it.
I feel you, Zach, but that ain't it. I don't need to only see you when you got a gun and a badge on, though. I think that's the antithesis of progress. It's almost maladaptive if that's what we're talking about.
Well, you got to think, we do stuff off duty all the time. When I go to see you guys, I'm off duty.
Yeah, but people need to see that, though. I don't want to only see you when you got a badge on. As a regular pedestrian that doesn't know any cops like that, like, it's like, yeah, we do stuff, we just don't show it. No, and when we talk about community police relations, we need to see it. You come hoop.
You don't see that there. We hoop on it. Yeah, we do that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just think that needs to be showcased. Like, I don't want to see you for the first time. I don't want to see any officer, if I could help it. That's not the case. But I don't want to see any officer in the P for the first time with a gun. Nobody wants to meet somebody for the first time with a gun. Every time I see you strapped, like,
I mean, it's true, but you also talking about a bigger city that has way more officers. They don't have to live in Peoria. But I'm saying, like, we play ball. You can catch up. Guys play softball at a park up here. I see that. That's why it's very hard for me to speak on another area that I haven't been in. I just go in to help you guys out and stuff. That happens. You know, that happens. You can go up and see us if we're playing basketball. Guys play softball and are having fun like that. It happens. It happens.
Do you feel like some of the police brutality we bring upon ourselves, would you say a good amount or not?
No, I don't think that comes across the board. No.
So typically, the police brutality that Black people face is not brought upon ourselves. We didn't do it to ourselves. It's just.
I don't think that. Again, I don't believe that anybody unless you're literally posing this threat that you need to be what we had a couple of days ago. I don't believe that. I would never believe that. And again, that's the cop side. I would find it so hard for the guys that I work with to think that that's what they're out there doing and not be checked on it.
You took a picture with Marcus Smith a while ago. Again, shout out to the homie. He's a cop too. I've been back. I mean, growing up, everybody said F12 to a degree growing up, but you know what I'm saying. As you get older, and couple of 12 is your homies. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I don't want to be out with Zach in the mall. Y'all say fuck 12. No. But in general, we make a pitch but now I'm different. Like, I love to see that you're a cop. I love to see Mark as a cop. If I have anybody, you know what I'm saying, tell me that they want to be a cop, I would encourage them to do it. I know the safest point in my life, one of the safest points in my life was when you followed me to the crib and you was in a cop car and you was behind me. I was like, I know I'm straight. Like, ain't nothing happened to me today. You know what I'm saying? And then when we was out to eat, we got the free food. So you my man. But would you make a pitch for Blacks that want to get involved in anybody that might hear this, Blacks that want to get involved in law enforcement?
Again, don't allow it's a battle. Okay, I get it. When you research your department, make sure they stand for what you stand for. Try to do it in the community in which you grew up in. And understand it is a rewarding job. Again, speaking from me, I literally, hey, this was going on in Peoria. Marcus, you already know. So my experience is different as a police officer. Hey, Zach, I got this going on. Can you show up? Cool. Hey, I got this going on in Peoria. Is it okay? Sure, no problem. That's my answer. It's never had any friction to say no. So that's my experience. That's the dopest part about my job. Hey, this was going on. Can I go do this? Absolutely, Zach. I love my job.
Would you encourage other blacks to be? Be cops.
Do it, man. It's a
Yeah.
rewarding job. You know, if you got a family, your daughters are gonna look up to you. It's a proud job. I'm proud to wear my uniform. I don't mind this going back and forth. I don't mind when Paul is telling me and calling me Zach, you did this, you did that. Well, hold on. I have no problem having these conversations. I get it. I know you know, some people might think it's PG-13. You still have to be, you don't want to rattle feathers and put other guys at risk. I don't want to do that. Again, you know who I am. Peoria knows who I am. People that grew up with me, the department I work for knows who I am. Do your job. Do your job. Come to be a police officer. That's what you want to do. And don't work for a department that you don't have to be somebody else. Again, it's a fun job. How many jobs you know you get to speed up and down the street, turn the lights on? Come on, man. That's the adrenaline junkie in me. Have fun.
All right, man. Look, I appreciate the time. I was thinking about the time where, hey, if y'all flying at 100 miles an hour
Matter of
down
fact,
the road, man, turn them
this is what I
sirens on,
encourage.
man.
That's
Because
true.
y'all
This
almost
what
hit me one time.
Hey,
No,
I
you almost hit
encourage
me,
you.
fam.
Hey, I do encourage this, Marcus. I expect if someone can hit me up, please come do a ride along.
Yeah.
Come do a ride along. If that's most departments, I know we allow it. Go do a ride along. If you have questions, I encourage you. Go do a ride along. Walk up to a random officer, talk to him, and you'll find out. Most of us are cool. I would assume so. I understand the situation that happened. Do a ride along. Talk to us. I don't understand why. I don't think anybody would be opposed to having this conversation or randomly talking to people. We do it all the time. It's not going to ever be publicized. We don't need to be publicized. Hit me up, do a ride along, and see how much fun you're going to have. And then come back and say, well, your issue on, man, maybe y'all ain't that bad. We have issues.
Y'all got issues. You guys are problematic and toxic, to say
We
the few
have
word.
issues. That I'm
Toxic.
never denying that we don't have issues. But
Toxic.
again, as a police officer,
Toxic.
as a police officer, I get it. As a black man, first, I get it. My department, we ain't all bad. And it's taking a lot of heat on us. Y'all know who I am. All right. Come right along with me, have fun, and we'll show you. But not all guys are bad. Don't put what happened. Again, there's no job that you can think of that somebody can go do something 4,000 miles away, and I'm going to take I'm going to take the bat for that. As a black man, I'm going to take it a certain way. I'm a sellout, et cetera, et cetera. As a white police officer, they're going to take it a certain way and have to deal with it too. In my community, I work with good guys. In Vermilion County, I work with good guys. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I believe. And if I was to think something else going into work, and I would have this negative connotation about this person and that officer, you're going to have a culture that is going to be, you'll have some even more issues. You know, it just is what it is. And that's the truth of the situation, man.
Anything else you want to say to the people that's watching?
Hey, stay safe. Please speak up. If it's not right, it's not right. Again, we're in. It's a rough time right now. It's a rough time right now. Have the conversations. Be respectful. Love each other. Wake up with a smile on your face, because at the end of the day, someone's going to try to take it from you, man. And that's what I truly believe. So it is what it is. You know, P-Town proud. My boy Drain on here, but proud 309er always. And man, again, hit me up, slide in my DMs if you need any questions or help. Our lead calls me all the time. So, you know, it is what I'm reachable. I'm definitely reachable.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Zach, appreciate you with the time, man. We're going to have to do this again.
Definitely, man.
All right, Peoria. Thank you, Peoria. We out.
Yep.